Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome. Let me see if everything is finally working. It would just be great. Okay. So, all right. Welcome, everyone. Let me just get everything up and moving here. I should probably show my other banner first. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, so welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up, and you can find more information about the projects that I create on my blog at stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. Today, we are going to be working on alternate ideas for the October 2023 paper pumpkin kit. I meant to make tea before I went live, and somewhere in the process I got lost. So I am in a new room in the house. This is, I think, either the second or the third time that I filmed here this week, and I'm still getting used to it. I have a window right here, and so I get a little squinty sometimes, but it's actually not that bright. So we're having sort of an overcast day here in Pennsylvania, but if you happen to be on here live or in the replay, be sure to say hi. Let me know where you are watching from. We're going to get into making our alternates here in just a minute. I think this is going to be our time. I think we're going to go with noon, and I think I'm going to call it a lunchtime live. So just for everybody who is watching, today is Thursday, October 26, 2023. It's noon. Well, actually, it's 12:07 now, Eastern. And I keep having some issues with my technology, but hopefully everything is worked out. So I am live on my business Facebook page right now, and then I will post the replay to YouTube. I tend to be a day behind posting replays, so just something to be aware of there. But let me go ahead and hi, Jeanette. How are you doing? So we are going to be making these. These are actually fun folds that we're going to be making. We'll talk about what to call them. I've heard them called tier cards or step cards, but I personally like step cards better. Like it looks like an ascending staircase, basically. But yeah, so let's go ahead and I will show you these card projects, but there are just a few things that I want to go over with you regarding paper pumpkin, and then just all of our usual things. So first thing is the October host code. I actually just had a conversation with somebody about this recently, where they were saying they were having some issues finding my host code. And I definitely want to make that easy to find. So I'm just going to go over it quickly here and then tell you guys where you can basically find it, because it stays stationary in certain areas throughout the month as well. And then when the month closes and I do a new host code, I post up the new host code in those same places. So this is the host code right down here that you can use until October 30th. If you shop with me in the online store, if you spend $50 before tax on your order with that host code, you will get a free embellishment from me in November with a handmade card. So here's where you can find it. I keep it in the description box below on YouTube. So if you're watching in the replay, you will see a link that will say October 23 host code, and then there's a link right below that. I keep it pinned to my Facebook business page. So at the very top of my page, I have like certain pinned things so that you can find them all the time. So it's pinned to the top of my Facebook page. It's also in the sidebar on my blog. Okay. So if you guys ever have any questions about that. Also, when I set up and I have links, or if I have like a link attached, it's almost guaranteed. I can't say it 100% just in case, if I ever made a mistake or if I forgot, but typically the host code is included in any of the links that I provide if I am referring to a certain place or to a certain product. Okay, so if you ever have any questions about that, you can email me, reach out to me. I'm happy to get you a customized link if you need it, or you could just go shop and literally type in that code that you see there before you check out if you want, whichever way works better for you. Okay, so just a heads up on that. All right, and then the next thing is we are winding down. We have less than a week left for the 35 starter kit promotion. You can either save 35% on a starter kit or add 35% more in product to your starter kit. So if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. I've been doing a lot of lives this week, so I'm not going to go into super detail about it, but you can find more information in the description box below if you're watching the replay, or you can reach out to me anytime. And if you ever do have questions for me, you can email me here. That is my email address, and I'd be happy to help you. All right. And then the last thing is the subscription period for Paper Pumpkin. So the kit that I'm working with today is the October Paper Pumpkin kit. That subscription period is closed, but you can get the refill now. The refill is available. We do have an add-on that's going with the November kit, which is a set of cards that also coordinates with October. But when you get refills, you get all of the consumable pieces. You get paper pieces, you don't get the stamp set, and you don't get the ink spot. So just something to keep in mind there. You also have to be an active Paper Pumpkin subscriber to get refills, past kits, or add-on items. And if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. But the November kit is actually going to be some 3D projects, but it's going to coordinate back with the October kit. So everything's going to mix and match. And then they have the Warm Wishes add-on. So let me just get you that information. I'll put it on the screen large here in just a minute, but it's the Warm Wishes cards and envelopes. You get 20 5x7 cards and envelopes that match. And then the item number on that is 163985. It's 14 for the pack of 20, which is awesome. Okay, so Jeanette says better today. Okay, good. Brandy. Hi, Brandy. How are you? She is watching from Alberta, and she says it's a minus 11 degrees Celsius. Oh my goodness. That does sound chilly. She said chilly. Stony Plain, Alberta. Hi, Joan. How are you doing? So the snow and the chilliness is probably, you're probably feeling that vibe today, Brandy. Okay, so let's go ahead down to the table. Now, one other thing I do want to say is I will have a project sheet available for this, but the project sheet won't be available until the replay is posted. So just keep that in mind, and then I'll update all across social media and on email and everything like that so that you guys can get your project sheet as soon as it's ready. Okay, so let me go down to the table now. All right, and let's take a look at these cards. So here's what we're going to be making today. And I'll show you the original. Hello, Patty. How are you? It's so good to see you too. So here, I'm so happy to have you here. So here, let's talk about these alternate cards that are fun folds. I absolutely love the October Paper Pumpkin kit. I think it is so charming and beautiful that I really didn't mess that much with the design, but I did make it dimensional. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, here's a little bit more of a stepped up alternate where I did add additional product outside of the kit, but it's pretty close. And I'm going to show you how close it is here. So this here is the instruction sheet that comes inside the box. And these are the cards as the Paper Pumpkin team designed them, but they are flat, okay, for the most part. So here you can see, because I went straight to alternates, I basically turned it into a fun fold, but look at how close it is in terms of its design. So again, we're really going to focus more on the dimension. And yes, when you fold this up, let me show this to you. When you fold this up, this will fit in the envelope that comes in these kits. So it will still fit and coordinate with those envelopes, okay? So I did add some sequins from a different kit, the Rustic Christmas Countdown kit, a perfect match I had some leftovers, and then of course I did my inside because we're going to do our own card base today for this one. So that's the first one. Now here's the landscape version of the card, or the horizontal version. And again, it's pretty close. So in my version, the houses are closer and the trees are a little bit more in the background. And in their version, the trees are a little bit more forward. Okay. But it's the same exact fold. It's just a different, measurement. So we have the portrait or the vertical, and then we have the landscape or the horizontal version. So very, very close to the paper pumpkin design. And then this is what the inside of this one ended up looking like. I absolutely love, love, love these. I think that they are so adorable. We're going to talk about the glitter glue in just a second, but let me show you this alternate as well. So on this alternate, I just wanted you to see how well the Traditions of St. Nick Designer Series paper matches to this scene. I thought it was absolutely and totally blendable. I was so thrilled with it. So here you can see it's the same exact fold, same scene, very slight modifications. And then from the St. Nicholas bundle, and then from the Designer Series paper, which is a special release paper, I'll show you that in just a minute. I just die cut him out with our chimney and then added him to the front. So we still have all of the imagery and the design from Paper Pumpkin, but we just added St. Nick in front. And then on the inside, I actually stamped with Night of Navy and Balmy Blue on that one. So before we jump in and make these, let me just go over a few more things with you to give you an idea or a sense of how to do alternates with this kit, okay? So the first thing I want to show you, typically, I will actually stamp these colors out for you so that you can just see them with your own eye. One of my favorite things to do with a Paper Pumpkin kit, and this is where you can find it. So if you go to the back of your instruction sheet, just in case this is your first time watching me or trying alternates with a Paper Pumpkin kit, you can find the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors for this kit in the back, and there's quite a few this month. And because there were so many, I thought it would be better to just do it this way. So we have a lot of coordinating colors to use. So even if you only have one or two colors, or maybe just one color collection from us right now, you can still cover a lot of bases, right? So we have a lot of yellow in this kit. There's a combination of reds here. We have a combination of greens, combination of browns, and a combination of blues. So this makes it, in my opinion, very, very easy to just grab, some of your favorite color cardstocks and make some really cute alternates. Now, don't feel like you have to do that, but you can do that. So these are the colors. One of my wishes, and hopefully someday, is that they would have, instead of them just written, they would actually have the colors on the instruction sheet for us. I would just love that. But in the meantime, I'm happy to do this for you so that you guys can see which colors to use. You can pull which colors you have. Now, before I dive into mine, look at how fabulous their alternates are on this. So if you see this Santa's sleigh with the reindeer, there is a stamp set in our mini catalog. I don't have a mini catalog right next to me, but I'll have to post a picture of it in the blog after the fact. This was genius that they paired those two. And in terms of the scale, it's so good. I adore that card. If I had that, I would have made that. And then this is our background plaid stamp that they're using with our stamps. We don't get to see enough of the stamps in these, kits, in my opinion. They come out with really great stamp sets, and typically we're only using one or two stamps on each card. So this is a great way to see the way that they've used the stamp set with their alternates on this one. I absolutely loved what they did this month. So I just wanted to point that out. And you can find more information there. They'll give you the information on how to go direct to Paper Pumpkin. But demonstrators have a lot of fabulous alternate ideas too. Now this is the Traditions of St. Nick Designer Series paper. And this is what I want to show you. You get two 12 by 12 sheets of each pattern. And this is done for you. So what I mean by that is this Santa, I did no coloring. You can do a stamped version of Saint Nick, and you can do the coloring yourself if you want to. But this is Paper Pumpkin. And with Paper Pumpkin, I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember Sandra Lee? And she used to do that show, Semi Homemade. That's what Paper Pumpkin reminds me of. Paper Pumpkin reminds me of like where you get, the boxed cake or whatever, and then you just kind of embellishment yourself. You decorate it yourself with, your own icing or something. So it's half in the box and then it's half modified, right? And that's how I feel about these. These are already colored for us. We don't have to worry about it. And each one of these St. Nicholas, images matches this color coordination. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So if you have the St. Nicholas dies, and I do realize the St. Nicholas dies are on the back order list right now. But if you already have them, or if you're okay with fussy cutting, I just wanted to show you that the St. Nicholas dies will cut 2 of the 3 Santas on this paper. So it fits perfectly with the die here. Okay. So you can line these guys up and you could die cut these out, and you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You can get 13 Santas. So ultimately, with a pack of the Traditions of St. Nick paper, you could get 26 Santas, or 26 St. Nicholases is what I should be saying, out of this paper. Okay. The one that you would have to fussy cut is the one who's holding the wreath. The one holding the presents and the tree, we have the coordinating dies for. But even him fussy cut is fabulous. And don't forget about all these great little trees. If you like trees the way I like trees, you can fussy cut out these trees and pop some of these into a scene too, if you would want to. Okay. And then we're also going to use the chimney, which is also from the dies, and just to help you see this a little bit more easily than the metal outlines. So those are the 2 outline dies that we just showed. And then this and this make up our chimney. And then this is like a drippy snow cap for our chimney top. And we're going to be using that. Okay. So I did these in cherry cobbler, and then our snow cap for the chimney top is actually cut from some of the leftover white on our card. Okay. So let's go ahead, and I think I covered all of the bases in terms of the extras that we're going to be doing with this. So now we can talk about the fun stuff with the measurements. And just in case, you didn't catch it the first time, the item number is 163985 on the add-ons. I'm not showing the add-ons today, but I want you to know that they are still available. Okay. And you can purchase add-ons right now. You don't have to wait for the subscription period. I can see I got my little sign here just a little bit crooked. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and did I tell you guys about the sequins? Let me just say this really quick. I just want to make it very clear. These were not in the Paper Pumpkin kit. I added these from the Rustic Christmas Countdown kit. I had leftovers and they match. Okay, so just wanted to mention that too. Okay, so the first one that we're going to make is our lemon lolly card. All right, so let's get this one out. And then I'll go back to comments here just a minute. If you've gotten tear and tape from previous kits, I think we had tear and tape in the September Paper Pumpkin kit. Get it out because we're going to use our tear and tape today. Let me go ahead and just take a look at comments real quick. Thanks, Patty. She says, wow, these are amazing. So fun with St. Nick. Yes, Brandy says, love the cards. They are beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, you're welcome, Brandy. Hi, Dolores. How are you? Okay, so let's go ahead. I tried to cut all the pieces ahead of time. We'll have to do some trimming, but just to kind of get the gist of it. And then, of course, we have our envelope. This is our envelope from the kit that matches. And that's why our fun folds had to fit in these so that they still matched. But let's go ahead and go through our pieces. So this card is the one that we're going to be making first. And here, let me do this way because I did do some cutting and some scoring ahead of time. So the first thing is our card base is going to be 4 1/4 by 11 for our lengthwise or our vertical card. And we're going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay. So that's our first piece. And this is lemon lolly cardstock. Okay, so let's burnish that. Okay. Now we also have 2 panels. We have our top panel, which is the wider, kind of more narrow panel. And then we have this this bottom panel here, which sticks out just a little bit more, is a little bit more square, okay? So we have the bottom and the top. For the bottom piece, you're gonna want a 4 by 4¼ piece of cardstock. I'm also using lemon lolly for these two pieces. And we're gonna score it at 1/2 inch, 1½ inch, 2½ inches, and 3½ inches. Okay, so you can see the score lines are already in there, but let's just go ahead and fold these. And you can see once we have these all folded, they pretty much form a square. Okay, so these two tabs on the back is where we're going to add our adhesive. So I'm just going to do that now. And we'll build it as we go. All right, and then I know that people are like very talented at lining this right up with the piece of cardstock, but I, for some reason, cannot do it. So I just tear it off ahead of time. If for whatever reason it's too long, you know, you could always fold the little piece back. It's very movable. And I mean the adhesive is, but once it's set, it stays. Okay, so like if you have a little tip, you can fold it easily. All right, so then what we're going to do here is we're going to add it to our card base, and we're going to line it right up with the bottom. I don't know what I have going on there. So I'm just going to line it right up with the bottom edge here so that that fold is right on the edge of our card. And then I'm just going to press it in. And then we want to line up right next to the other tab. Okay, so can you see where these two meet? All right, and then once we have that looking pretty straight and lined up right here, I'm going to press it in. Some people will close it to press it, okay, because it will fold, right? You just want to double check that it is going to just fold down. But I like to actually do that open. So that's just a personal preference thing. Now our top panel is going to be 3½ inches by 4¼ inches. And then we're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2½ inches, and 3 inches. And so that will end up looking like this. Okay. And this time there's an imaginary 1/2 inch between these two pieces. Okay. So we're not going to glue these together because then it would look weird. So it's just going to sit like this on the card. But what we do need is we're going to attach this one to this piece we just put. So we're actually going to put 2 strips of the tear and tape on this one. So let's do 1. We'll do 2. Okay. There we go. All right, and you can see how I'm a little bit over. We don't want that adhesive to come over, so I'm just going to pull it back. Okay. But there is an easier way to do tear and tape, and that's just to line it up with your card as you go and just tear it off. But I just cannot do that right. I rip my cardstock just about every time. But I see other people do it effortlessly, so it can be done. Okay, so there are our 2 bottom pieces. Now I'm also going to put on the very outer tab, that one is going to adhere to the card. So for this one, I'm going to put down a little bit more adhesive, but I want to make sure it's above the score line because we don't want it to mess with our score lines there. So just try to keep it cleanly on each tab, okay? So for this one, let's go ahead and I'm going to try to line it up here. And let me see if I can do this with you. Okay, because I'm going to try to do both at the same time. So line it up with the card and then line it up with that bottom piece right there. Okay, can you see that? And then I'm just going to check my other side, and you can see my other side isn't back as far. So I shouldn't have set it down, but let's see if I can salvage it. I bet you I can. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to press, like just kind of squeeze that and then squeeze this one. I'm going to set this in. Okay. And then I'm just going to fold that, and we can see it's still folding. Okay. And now we're going to do our top tab. All right. Okay. And I'm just going to do the other side, trying to make it even. All right. And I can tell it's a little bit crooked. The funny thing is when I did this and I wasn't live, I had no problem. But I can fix it. Okay. So let me just, I'm going to set it straight down here, and we'll do it this way. Okay, so we just want that to be at like a 90-degree angle there. And I'm just going to tab. And there we go. We got it. Okay. So it's hard to do these things up in the air sometimes, but you can see the way that that mechanism works once it's done right. Okay. And then that's it for your fun fold. And so once you have that, we can go ahead and start decorating. So I kept my layout really super similar to theirs. Hang on. Here we go. Here's our pieces. So we have 2 different layers here. I chose to do this as the middle layer, this as the front layer, but as you can see, we're going to need to trim it down a little bit. We have our inside panel, and the inside panel is actually the back of the card. And we're going to cut that together because I have to trim this seam down. Okay. So I'll show you how I did this. We're also going to be using one of our glitter pieces from the kit and then this banner tab from the kit. Okay, so I'm going to set these 2 right here, and then let's go ahead and we'll do a little bit of trimming. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. We'll come back to this in a minute. I really want to keep these in my sight line so that I don't lose them. Okay, so here we really are going to maximize the use of our kit. So what you can do is you can cut right on the score line if you want to, but I actually usually cut slightly off. Like I know I'm going to trim this panel to 4 by 5 1/4 so it can go inside our fun fold. So I'm just going to trim it to 4 right now. Okay. And then this right now it's at 5.5 inches. So we're just going to trim it down to, 5.5. So 5 1/4 inches once it's trimmed. So this is now a 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel that will go inside of the card. And I'm just going to set that aside. And then for this piece here, can you see how there's a little extra going on this side? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut just very slightly past the score line so that it looks straight. I don't want to see that score line. So we'll do that first. I find that when I cut directly on the score line, it can fray. And I get a little bit annoyed by that. All right, now I'm also going to trim this to 4 inches. So I'm just going to take a little bit extra off of this side. And you can see it comes right up to the edge of that tree. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut this to 2 3/4 inches. And you can see it just clears so that we have our seam. All right, and so basically that's going to go right here. Now, I cut it that way because I actually wanted to see the lemon lolly. Like I wanted that 1/4 inch border. If you don't want or need that border, you can actually just leave it 4 1/4 inches and just trim it to 2, either 2 3/4 or like 2 7/8 probably would be better. But you could bump it right up to the edge. People don't really see in that crease that well, especially because we're going to be stacking. But just a heads up on that, I kept that 1/4 inch detail there. Okay. So that's going to be the top layer. Now for this one, the measurement on this particular panel is 1.5 right here. So I know it's going to come up off of my panel, but I do want to take some of this off. Okay. So I'm going to start with 1/2 inch. So we're just going to take 1/2 inch off and we're going to eyeball it. So this is how I do this sometimes. I might not have an exact measurement, but I will give one to you. So Here, that's going to line up here. And then here, we're going to bump this up very slightly. Now, you can also trim this one down to 4 inches, but I'm actually going to go edge to edge on the seam here. And then on this one, I did trim it to 4 just so that you could see the difference. And then on our smallest piece, or the lowest, I should say the lowest on our step card here, we have a very wide white space and we do not need all of that. So I'm going to trim off 1 inch. And I think that that's actually still more. It might be 1 1/4 inches, but let's start with 1 inch and see what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to trim off 1 inch. You can always save this and create another banner later. And this is what it looks like down on the score line there. Okay, so I actually think that looks really good. But just from the side, you can see it's sticking up about 1/4 inch there. All right, so if you want that to be a little bit lower, you can, but just know these are sloped. So if you cut it too low, you'll cut into your lemon lolly. And that's not the end of the world. It's just going to show the lemon lolly, that's all. All right, so those are our 3 layers. And let's go ahead and put these on now. I refilled my Seal Plus. Can you believe it? I don't know why I put it off so long. I always do that to myself. But it's refilled now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop that one on first. Just trying to keep that 1/4 inch border there. Okay. And it's probably crooked, but it's okay. It's all right. And then I'm going to keep my adhesive low. So don't put your adhesive where the fun fold is going to fold. So try to keep it down here in that lower, 1/2 inch space. Okay. And then we're going to pop this one on. I'm just going to line it right up edge to edge is what I'm trying to do right here. Okay. And you can see here, we do see just a little bit of our lemon lolly. All right. And then here, we'll do this layer. Same thing, stay low. I find when I make alternates, it is very hard for me to stay exactly the same card to card. I always make some slight modification. So even though when you're looking at it directly, part of this house is covered, right? When they're looking at it dimensionally, like in person, you can see everything. Like you can see them all just fine, okay? So that is that. And then we're going to get our pieces here. So not much stamping needed for this. Let me just show you. So I'm going to get my inside panel and my banner. Now the stamp set, which I haven't even shown you guys, is so cute. I have most of the stamps already mounted, but let's see if I can show this to you. So just in case you haven't seen the stamp set, we have a lot of great classic greetings, sentiments. And then we have our home, our little cottage home. We have this, I guess that's either a pattern or snow. And then we have snowflakes, a little cluster, and 2 different sized trees. Honestly, they also look like pine cones. So I think you could get away with making them look like pine cones if you would want to. But we're going to use Real Red. Real Red is the color of the Stampin' Spot in the kit this month, but I'm going to use my full size. And then we're going to go with Merry Christmas is my preferred greeting. So that's the one I'm going to use because I send more that say Merry Christmas than Happy Holidays. Okay. And so we're just going to ink this up. And of course I did. Hang on. Don't want to get that everywhere. I was such a mess when I'm live. Oh gosh. It's just funny to me. It is. Not that I'm not messy when I'm not live, but it's not as bad. Okay, so here's our Merry Christmas. Is that not absolute perfection? You can read it perfectly. It's beautiful font. It's classic, right to the point. Okay, and then for the inside, we're going to say this one. And I have my stamp cleaner around here somewhere. Hang on. Excuse my arm. Okay, here we go. For the inside, we're going to say, celebrate the wonder and joy of this festive season. And I'm going to do real red on the inside on this one too. Okay. Let me see if I can do this straight. Excellent. All right. And then I'm going to use Balmy Blue, which is one of our coordinating colors, to stamp just a couple of snowflakes. And we're going to do the little cluster snowflakes on this one, the little trio. Okay. Hang on. Here we go. I'm in a different room, so I don't have all my blocks out here. I'm just kind of doubling up on my blocks. I don't know if you guys do that. I do that. Okay, so we're just going to stamp one each here. Isn't that cute? Okay, so then we're going to do our inside panel. That's the one that's done. And we'll do our outside. We'll finish up our outside. So for our outside, just to finish this, I don't know what that is. I just wiped off this table, but it might be glue. All right, so this is going to go straight onto that very front panel. I'm just going to put it right center, or as close to center as possible. I love that piece. I love anything glittery. I love, love, love the glitter glue, which we haven't even talked about yet. Okay, and then we're going to use a couple of dimensionals here. You can use dimensionals on this card. Just be aware of where you're putting adhesive on the step parts that fold down. Okay, and so here's that. All right, isn't that fabulous? So you can leave it just like this, but we're actually going to use glitter glue and sequins, but I want to do the glitter glue last. So I'm going to glue my inside panel first, because once our glitter glue is on, we're going to set it aside to dry so I don't get it everywhere. Okay. So we'll just pop this onto the inside. Okay. So for those of you who like to stay very close to the paper pumpkin kit, that's pretty close. Now, if you would want to do panels, like decorate on the top and everything, you can do that. Totally up to you, but I think that this is fine. And then let's just get two of our little sequins here. We're just going to pop them right on either end of this banner. Okay. And I just think that they add so much to the card. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then this is the glitter glue that came in the kit. And this has like a real high iridescent shine element to it. This is what it looks like dry. Now, here's the way that Paper Pumpkin advised us in the instructions to do it. They basically, if you look close on the houses, there's a little outline. I'll show you in just a second. And you just trace that little outline to do the little outlines on the roofs of the little cottages or houses. But with mine, you know me, I need more than that. So on this version, I actually covered the whole roof, and I love my version. So just depending on if you want to be conservative with your glitter glue or not. Let me see if I can hold these right up next to each other. But I love the shine on them. I love the shine. So for those of you who love Wink of Stella, this is awesome. But Wink of Stella has almost like a creamy look to it. And this one is very iridescent-y, white-ish, like clear-ish. So I'm going to take this and I'll show you the way that I did this on mine. So if you just want to trace the outline, can you see those little balmy blue lines right there? That's all you would trace. But I'm going to do the whole thing. So I'm just going to start squeezing. And I basically just scribbled because snow has like a little pattern to it anyway. But I'm just taking this little spout and kind of moving the glue around, and then it will dry. And it dries pretty quickly. Like you don't have to wait a whole day for it to dry. Let me do these first. I'll do the back ones last. Okay, so I'm just going to go around here. Just a little bit of a scribble. And you could smooth this out using the little palette knife on the take your pick tool. That would smooth it out really nice. Just make sure you clean it right away. But I'm just going to go messy here. Okay, clear, so it's not too bad. I would try not to make it too goopy because you want it to dry. Okay, and then let me go back and do these two. Sorry, the card's upside down, but it makes more sense for me this way. Hopefully you can see that being added. Let's see, let me know. You can see that. I'll go back to comments in just a minute. Isn't that cool? You feel like a kid using this thing, I'll tell you. Okay. I really, really hope to see more glitter glue or more like this in the future. I love this little added element that they did. Okay. And so we got all of our roofs, and that's what it looks like wet. When it dries, it looks more flat than that. Okay. So that is card number 1. Okay. So we have 3. And this is 1, but 2 is going to be really similar. We're just going to change up our measurements slightly. Okay, so let me go back to comments here for a second. Corinne says shared. Thank you so much, Corinne. Hi, Angie. How are you? Hi, Kathy. She says we'll need to watch the replay to catch the beginning. Yes, and I'll make sure it's posted everywhere within the next 24 hours. Angie says, wow. Oh, thank you, Angie. I'm so glad you like it. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's go ahead to our second one now. I'm going to set this kind of off to the side. I'll bring it back in the end. All right, so for our horizontal card, here is the horizontal version or the landscape version, just depending on what you want to call it. This one has a cherry cobbler base to it. Again, I kept the design so close to the Paper Pumpkin team design. I just basically made it dimensional. That's really the only difference. But we'll do our little fun fold version. So Cherry Cobbler is one of the coordinating colors in this month's kit. So I just went with that color for our card. Now this card is 5.5 by 8.5 inches, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I don't know why I didn't put a Post-it on there. Sorry about that. But it's like our standard A2 car size. So when it's folded shut, it's 4 1/4 by 5.5. So just the same exact size as our Paper Pumpkin cards. Okay. So that is the base. And then for our top panel and our bottom panel, all of the scoring stays the same. The only measurement that changes is that it's 5.5 inches instead of 4 1/4. So because our vertical card was 4 1/4 inches wide, that's why it ended at 4 1/4. And because this card is 5.5 inches wide, that's our only change. So you're still going to cut this to 4 inches, but this time it's width-wise, it's going to be 5.5. And then we're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches, and 3.5 inches. And then for our top panel, we're going to do 3.5, just the same as the other card, but this time width-wise by 5.5. And then we're going to score at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2.5 inches, and 3 inches. Now, I know that as I'm rattling this off to you, that can sound like a lot, but I will have all of the measurements in the project sheet for you, and you guys can definitely go back and watch those replays. So we have that square again. It's just longer this time. Okay, and then I'm going to get my tear and tape. Oh, where is my tear and tape? Gotta keep, here we go. Covered them with my embellishments. Okay, and I brought out 2 rolls because these are Paper Pumpkin size rolls. The tear and tape that you buy out of the annual catalog is like really thick. I wish I knew exactly off of the top of my head what the amount is, but I don't. So I'll have to go and look that up. But Paper Pumpkin size should be fine if you have leftovers or if you haven't used those yet. All right, so for these, it's our 2 edge pieces that we want. So these 2 1/2 inches that become our little flaps that we're going to glue. And put this one down. And because I just have a little extra left over, I'm just going to pull that back. Fold that back on itself. Okay. Same thing. All right. And so these 2 pieces, we want this to form a square. So we want these 2 pieces to meet, these 2 edges to meet. So I'm going to line this up with the bottom of my card. Okay, and if you guys don't mind, I'm going to do this flat to the table because it's just easier for me to do it that way. I can, sight line wise, I can get my line up better. So let's do that. Yeah, I would love to be able to do that up in the air, but that's really hard. But just so that you can see. All right, and that way you guys will be folding it down to your table too. And then our other panel is going to line up perfectly with the other one. And then when we got that line up where we want it, we're just going to press it against our card base. Okay, so you could take your bone folder and go all the way in to, you know, get that to set, but you could also test it and fold it flat and just get that bond that way too. Okay, so that's our bottom panel right here. And then here's our top panel. And so this time we have 2 of the 1/2 inch score lines on each end. This time we have an imaginary 1/2 inch or a 1/2 inch space between these two. So they're not going to match up like the other one did. It's going to sit like this on the card. Okay. But we're actually going to put adhesive on both pieces because we also want to glue this panel to this panel. Okay. So let me get my tear tape and we'll do that. Okay. I'll just put that little leftover piece on the other one. Okay. And then we're going to take these off. Okay. And then we're also going to need one on the top. And because this has a cover on it, you could do one at a time and just remove them as you go. I tend to take them off. Okay. So again, it's going to be easier for me to do it this way, but you want that looking, so this is going to line up with that bottom piece. So we want that flat. We want that at a 90-degree angle. So this one is going to adhere to this, and this panel is going to adhere to the back. And so we're just going to line that up. And I'm just going to set it down so that I can get my line up right. And I'm just going to check it, and I can see I'm off slightly, but we're going to go with it. Let's see. Can you see how it's just very, I went over just a hair too far, but it's okay. Not many people are going to notice. All right, and then let's get this top piece. We just want to make sure that it still folds. So as long as it folds, we'll be good. Okay. Go. Let's just see if I can get that other side there. And can you see the way that that's bubbling right here? Okay, so I can either reposition it or just fix it with my bone folder. So that's the quicker way we're going to do. Okay. So there we go. We have our card base here. I can see, like when I pull it down like this, I'm slightly crooked. So I probably should have gone flat on it, but it's okay. It's still going to fold. It's still going to look really cute. All right. So for our pieces on this one, what we're going to do is we're actually going to put our homes in the front here. Okay. And then for the card base, we're going to do the card base that they did for the landscape version, but we're actually going to trim it down. Okay. So let me just show you here. This piece will be trimmed to 1.5 inches. Okay. So we're going to do 1.5 inches, and you can see I have that 1/4 inch border here. So it's going to be 5 1/4, 1.5 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So remember, we're going to use, let me get this one. We're going to use this for the inside of our card. We're going to cut this piece to 4 by 5 1/4. So we'll cut this one first. Okay, and then I'll just set that aside with the card. And then here, I just want to get this top off first. So let me do that. All right, and now I'm going to turn it the other way. I'm going to go to the 1.5 inch mark and I'm going to trim. Now, you'll see we're trimming right through our trees. We're trimming right through the image. But the second part of the image is actually going to go down on the next layer. And we're going to put the die cut trees in place of it to make it dimensional. So we're still seeing those trees. We're not losing anything. Okay, so the other piece, I believe it's also 1.5, but let me just get you guys the measurement here. It's actually 1 3/8. Okay, so 1 3/8 by 5 1/4 for our next one. So there we go. All right, and you can always save that piece for later. These are the two that we're going to use, and I can't remember if I trimmed them down to 5. No, I didn't. Okay, so we're going to trim this down to 5 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the moon side to the quarter and cut. And the reason that I'm doing that is because on this side, we have a little more wiggle room. So we're going to put our little tree ends to the 5 1/4 inch piece here. Mark 5 1/4 inch mark, and we're just going to trim it down. Okay, so we have these two panels here. We're still going to need to trim our other panel, but we can start putting this together. So I'll just use my multi-purpose glue for this one. Okay, let's go ahead and pop that on. Again, I want that 1/4 inch border here. There we go. Okay. And then let's glue this panel on. So we're going to glue this one down. Okay. So it does have that continuous look to it. But I do want a little bit more dimension on that. If you want to save your die cut trees for something else and just leave it this way, it'd be fine. But we're going to do a little bit more. And you can see on this layer, I cut right to our blue home right here, our little blue house. I want to say home because the name of the kit is Home for the Holidays. And that's exactly what it feels like. It has such a warm, homey feeling to it, this whole kit. So I'm going to take this right to the blue house. And let me see what that measures out to be. So it looks like if we go to the blue house, we're past 1/4. I don't know if I want to cut into the blue house. I kind of want to cut right under it. So I think what I'm going to do is go to the 1/4 inch mark, but you could go another notch up if you would want to and cut it right there. Let me get you that measurement so that I'm telling you the right thing. 1 1/4, so 1 5/16. But I think that 1 3/8 might be a little bit far. Okay, that does look the same, doesn't it? Yeah. So I bet you that that's what my measurement was. Okay, and so we're going to put this piece down right here. So this piece is going to end up going in the front. And I'm just going to put my glue on the bottom. I'm going to keep the whole length of the front piece. So I did not trim the front piece to 5 1/4. I kept it 5.5 inches because it's too good not to use the whole thing. And that's just how I feel about it. It's just too pretty. I can't cut the houses yet. I'm not ready. Maybe if I get a refill kit, I'll start cutting into the houses. Okay. So that's what the scene looks like before we start adding other things. All right. And even this looks absolutely fabulous. But let's go ahead and stamp our inside. This is what the inside looks like on this card. So we're going to recreate that. And then we're also going to do our Happy Holidays sentiment this time. I'm going to stick with Real Red. That's our color from the kit, but I do think that Night of Navy would look spectacular with this one too. We're going to do Night of Navy for our third card. Okay, or we could do Mossy Meadow. We could change it up. Maybe I should. Should I do Night of Navy? I don't know. Let's just stick with Real Red. Okay, and then we'll just do our Happy Holidays. So whichever one you choose, the inside greeting is still applicable, still works. All right, and then we're going to do our inside. So let's get this piece first. I should have brought my foam pad out here. All right, there we go. And so here we have this little home or this little house stamp. And you can see this is the B block. It matches absolutely perfectly to this stamp size. But if you're still just using the single size block that you got in your first paper pumpkin kit, that's okay. It will fit on all of those, okay? But if you do have this little block, it is just so perfect. It just works perfectly for that block B. All right, so we're going to get our balmy blue. And I thought I had some scrap paper around here because I need to stamp off on this. That's funny. Hold on. Here it is. I did bring my foam pad out here. I thought I did. Okay. Ignore the skeletons. Okay. And we'll just set this aside to go into our card in a minute. And let's get this piece back. I know that these skeletons are probably so super distracting. How about if I do it like this? We'll just cover them. How about that? Okay, that's probably better. So we're going to do balmy blue, but I'm actually going to stamp off. Let me just show you. Okay, full ink and then lighter. And the only reason that I stamped off was because typically we write in this area, right? Okay, so I'm just going to do each edge first. And if you want to do them like stacked, you could do that too. If you want to use your masking paper, you could really do this up with your masking paper. I'm going to do a third house a little bit lower. Okay. And then I'm going to put one tree. So let's add a tree. And we'll add our tree with Old Olive. You could also use Mossy Meadow. But I'm going to go with the lighter green because I'm going to stamp it off anyway one time. And let me see if I can find it. There we go. Okay. So we're just going to do that. And then we have our tree. Okay. So let me show this to you. All right. So that's the inside of our card. We'll put that in just a minute. Actually, we could probably do it now. I think I'm done with the stamping. Yeah, I am. All right, we're done with the stamping on this one. So let's go ahead and put this one in. Okay. I'm just going to put this down. There we go. Got a little too much glue on the edge there. Okay. And I'm probably just going to let that dry for a second so that my card doesn't stick together. And then up here in the corner is where we're going to put this piece. Okay. So let me close this back up so that you can see what this one looks like. And then I'm just going to put this flat to the card in the upper left corner. Right here. Okay, and then we'll do our Happy Holidays on dimensionals. If you want to use a stronger adhesive and just keep it flat to the card, you could do that too because we're putting it on a piece of glitter specialty paper, you know, basically. But I think that these will stick. I think it should be okay. All right. And so let's put this right here. There we go. All right, and then same thing where you would add your glitter to the roofs, like to the houses. I already did that for the first one, so for the sake of time, I'm just going to move on to our third one. All right, but you could definitely add that glitter. You can see that's what it looks like with or without, just depending. You might not want the glitter. It's totally up to you. But you can see it doesn't, even if you cover the full roof, it doesn't mess with the paper. Everything stays perfectly straight. Okay, so that is card 2. Now let's go ahead and do card 3. And here is card 3. Okay, so on this version, I did a Night of Navy card base. But we're going to change it to, oh, you know what I forgot to add on my, you guys, here, I got to fix this. I forgot to add my trees. So do you see the trees? I totally forgot to add them. So let's add these. I have a tendency to do this. Hold on. All right. And we're going to add 3 trees on this side. Okay. So a cluster of 2 and then a single, and then a cluster of 2 on this side. So let me do that because that is an important part of the card. I'm just going to pop some glue and keep the adhesive low on a tree. Don't put it high on the tree, just low. Okay. And we'll pop that on. Try not to cover your greeting. Okay, so there's the first one. And then let's go ahead and do this one. And then we'll pop this one right over here. All right, and that is our card. And I would just recommend adding the glitter glue. So sorry about that, you guys. Okay, that was card 2. All right, and then let's go ahead and we'll move on to card 3. And card 3 is our St. Nicholas card. So in this version, I did a Night of Navy card base, but we're going to change it very slightly because this is the Santa in the red, or the St. Nicholas in the red cloak. And we're going to change it to green. Now you can pick and decide which one you like better because I actually do have both of them here to choose from. But this is going to be a Mossy Meadow card base. Everything is for the vertical measurements. So the vertical measurements that I gave you still apply to this card. Okay. So we're just going to warm up our score lines here. All right. And then we're going to put it together the same exact way. And let me just get my tear and tape again. Here we go. And we'll put this last one together. Okay, and even the vertical layers are going to be similar. We're just adding in these elements of Saint Nick. So again, just cut out the Santa from the Traditions of Saint Nick specialty, or I'm sorry, the Traditions of Saint Nick Designer Series paper, which is a special release paper. That means it's an online exclusive. You won't find it in the catalog. The bundle is available in the catalog, the St. Nicholas bundle, but the dies are currently on back order. Okay, but if you want the paper where the St. Nicholas came from, you would have to look online to find it. Okay, and I'll make sure that I link everything, all of the products and everything to the project sheet, but just so that you guys know. Okay, so just lining that up. That looks good. And then the bottom one is always the easier piece for me. There's that. And then let's go ahead and do our top piece one more time. So you can see this is a really easy fun fold. And once you start, doing them 1, 2, 3, just depending on how many you're going to do, you could do up to 8 for this pack. I can't say that we're not really doubling up on anything. We're still using most of the same pieces, consuming the same pieces, but I would highly recommend a refill for as long as they're available. I absolutely love this kit. And in a refill, you would get a pack of 8 more cards and the pieces that you would need for 8 more cards. Okay. There we go. One question that I didn't think to ask, because the glitter glue is new, is the glitter glue in the refill? I'm going to have to go look and see. I actually don't know if it's in there or not. our 2 pieces here. Okay. And I'm going to just fold this one down. All right, so there go our fold. And look, I did it again. You know what? Here's how we fix it. Okay. There we go. You can see it's so slight. It's such a slight difference. Okay. All right. And so we have that. And so in terms of decorating our pieces, they're going to be really similar. It's just we're going to choose one or the other. This is the one that has the coordinating die cut from St. Nicholas. This one I fussy cut. Okay. But they all came from the Traditions of St. Nick Designer Series paper. So if you weren't here earlier, let me just show this to you really quickly. So this is the paper piece. You can get up to 13 St. Nicholases per sheet. You get 2 sheets in a pack. So you can get up to 26 of these, whether you're fussy cutting or if you're using your die cuts. These 2 die cut, this one, which is, there's only 3 of him, you would fussy cut him out. But I also recommend saving the trees because the trees are too good on that not to use. Okay, so we're going to go back to cutting our layers here. And we're going to do our 4 by 5 1/4 inch again. So you'll just do this for each of the cards that you make, unless you have a bunch of these pre-cut and you don't need it. But I do like to use up as much of the kit as I can. Okay, so there's that piece. We'll save that for later. And then on this side, we're going to do very similar. So we're just going to trim off that edge like we've been doing. We're going to go to 4 inches and trim on this side. And we are going to cut to 2 3/4 inches again. Okay, so that's pretty much exactly the same. And then let's just go ahead and adhere that panel. We'll just work our way down. Okay, so just gonna put this in place. And I did this with all of these different colored card bases so that you guys can kind of get a feel for all of our coordinating colors with this kit. I mean, do these not mix and match fabulously or what? Okay, so here, I will admit to you guys, this is probably one of my favorite kits of the year, if not like way up there in my top 3 for the year, which is really saying something for me. Okay, so for our next piece, we're going to do this longer sort of gingerbread looking house. Okay, so this guy right here. So I do need to trim this off a little bit. I could leave it. So just depending on the amount of height and dimension you want, you could leave it alone. But I feel like it covers this a lot. Now in this version, it's pretty close. Like it's still covered. So it's up to you, but I'm going to trim a little bit down. I'm just going to trim like 1/4 inch down. We're just going to lower it a little bit. Okay. So it's still covered, but you can still see, you can see like more of the windows and things. Now here's where we have to start being mindful of glue and where it's placed. Stay low on our step folds. Okay. This panel was not trimmed to 5 1/4, mostly because I forgot, but you can see it's fine. All right. There we go. I got a little bit of glue here, and I have a glue eraser. Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell these. I wish they did, but I'll just remove it with the glue eraser later. And then we're going to decorate our front panel now. So this time, decorating our front panel is a little bit different. That means we don't need this piece. We can save that for another card. All right. And then let's go ahead and choose. And let me just check out the comments here too. Which Santa do you want in the chimney? Do we want the one with the wreath or do we want the one with the tree? This one has a wild wheat, what do we say, coat, or I know there's like a specific word for what he's wearing. Or do we want the one in Mossy Meadow, the green? Let me know. Hi, Susan. Hi, Dara. Hi, Robin. Glitter glue is in the refill. Thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate you telling me that and letting everybody know. So glitter glue. Oh, good. Linda says glitter glue. Oh, so everybody's been paying attention. Did you guys already get your refills? I know they're going to be popular. Angie says the wreath. Okay, let's go with the wreath. So we'll use him. You can see they both match really well. And then let me get my pieces for the chimney. Where did I put those? They're still in here. Okay, so my chimney is 2 pieces cut in cherry cobbler cardstock. And then we have our little piece of the snow cap for the topper for our chimney here. And that was cut from a leftover piece of the white from our card. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna move these things out of the way. We're gonna get our glitter. What did I do with my glitter piece? See, this is how I start losing stuff. Is it still in here? Hang on, I'll grab another one. I'm using every single bit of this that I can use, by the way. I'm going to use these little strips and everything. I will find a way. Okay, so we're going to put this piece down. Now, on this one, I would like to say Merry Christmas. You can say whatever you want. This, you can see, is a perfect fit here. I absolutely love the way that fits. And we are going to do just a little bit of stamping. Should we do our stamping right now? And I can still do Night of Navy for the inside, which is what I was thinking about doing. And let's do that. And for Happy Holidays for the outside, I'm going to leave it real red because I like that pop of red on these cards. So let me get my Night of Navy for the inside. Okay. All right, there we go. And then we'll add our snowflakes. So this is our snowflake stamp still from, I did it again. Got the real red on me again. All right, hang on. Let me get my glue. Hold on, you guys. Let me just fix this a little bit. Roberta is right. I don't know why I don't listen to her. I need to put wipes next to my station every single time I craft. I just need to listen to her. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that off real quick, and we'll clean our little snowflake cluster. I should have, just to give you guys some variety, I should have used the little dots version, but what did I do with my stamp set? I'll just stick with these little snowflakes. I'll do probably a second video anyway for alternates. So I'll get focused on using all of these stamps because we can create some pretty great backgrounds with what they gave us. Okay, so that's the insert for this one, and we can pop that in, and then we'll do our banner. Okay, so we'll pop this in. Got glue sticking to me. Okay. There we go. All right, and then our next step, stamp, don't forget, banner, stamp, and Merry Christmas is what we're going to go with. We're going to go with Real Right. I could do cherry cobbler. How about cherry cobbler? We'll change it up a little. Okay. All right, so we'll do cherry cobbler. And just in case you're wondering, I pull all of the coordinating colors in the ink pads and just sort of play with them as I stamp. But I think the cherry cobbler and real red and cherry cobbler are pretty close. They're cousins. So yeah, I don't think at this point, I think it's pretty much absorbed on me, but just want to be careful. Okay, so before we glue that on, we're going to do this piece next. So we don't need the full piece of him, like his feet. Can you see the way his feet kind of stick out around the bottom of this chimney? So we're going to trim that just a little bit. Okay. You could always do it the other way where he's coming out of the chimney this way if you want to. So you can save that piece if you want. Okay. And then I personally would like to see, even though he's holding this wreath, I'm just going to cut into it a little bit so that this could be outside the chimney. I wonder if this is going to work. I haven't tried this, so let's just see if it works. But if it looks weird, I'll cover it. Yeah, it might look weird, so I might have to cover it. Okay, but this is the concept here, all right? So we're gonna tuck him right behind here. I don't know how he's gonna fit that wreath down the chimney, but that's his problem. Okay, and we'll just pop that on right here. All right, and then I'm gonna put the top piece on dimensionals just to make it look dimensional, actually. I know that sounds like I am stating the obvious is what I'm doing, but I like that it stands out from the rest of the chimney. You should see my pile of discard. You might actually be able to see it. I have to look at the screen. I'm looking at a teeny tiny screen, so half the time I don't even see what you see. Okay. All right, so I am going to just, okay, because I don't really want to see the rest of that wreath. I want it to be behind our chimney. And then we're just going to glue this right to the chimney top. Just want to make sure I'm still on camera. Okay. And then we'll just glue that right down. I mean, does that detail make it or what? I absolutely love our designers and these little personal touches that they do. It's just too cute. All right. And then we're gonna do some, now again, we have to be really careful with our adhesive here. So I'm gonna do, we want to keep it so that our chimney, the adhesive is only here. Okay, so when I look at the back of it, I don't want any adhesive up over that top because that would mess with our fun fold, right? And even folded closed, it looks right. Even folded that way, it looks fabulous. But the whole idea is just to play on sort of that forced perspective where he's on a house, you know, that's closer to us. That was the idea behind the design there. All right, and then we'll pop this piece up on dimensionals. Getting to the end of my pack now. And you could actually do this so that it's like you can, the chimney is kind of peeking out underneath too. I think that's cute. And we still get that little element of sparkle there, but we are going to add glitter glue to this one. And we're also going to add a couple of our sequins. And these sequins are from the Rustic Christmas Countdown Kit. If you haven't heard, you know, if you just joined late, that is where these are from. These little sequins did not come in this kit. Our embellishment in this kit is the glitter glue. Okay, so this time we're going to put our glue right on the snow cap here, and I'm going to put it all over. Okay. And once you do add your glitter glue, you do want to set it down and have it, you know, give it time to dry. Don't go straight from the glitter glue to your envelope. Doesn't take too long to dry, but I don't know if you can see this at all in this light. Can you see that? I don't know if you can, but hopefully you're getting some sense of the shimmer there. There's a lot of iridescent high shine in person that I see. Okay, and so we're going to do our rooftops here. There we go. And like I said, I'm just kind of scribbling it. And then you can always go back through and smooth it out if you want to. But I just noticed that it still dried fine when I was doing it like messy this way. So I'm fine with it. But I would recommend like our little palette knife. There's one inside of our take your pick tool. You could use that to smooth it out, or your fingertip probably, but you're going to end up with glue on you. Okay, and then I can still get back here. We can still move this around a little bit. I think it would be great to put this glue on the snow on the trees too, but I'm not going to go crazy. We'll just keep it to the roofs. because I really am trying to stick to a degree their design. Okay. And so I don't want to fold that back because now we want to give our glue some time to dry. But that is card number 3. So these are our step cards or our tier cards, just depending on what you've seen or what you like to call them. It's funny when you're, going down the Pinterest, YouTube rabbit hole, and people they have different names for things, but it's like the same card, But I personally like to call it a step card, but yes, it could also be considered a tier card. So that's card number 3. And then let's bring them all back in and we can finish out this video here, and I'll come back on the screen for a minute. Okay, so we have these, and then we'll get these 2. I'm going to have to remember to put snow on the roofs of the this card that I didn't get a chance to put it on. But it's good to give you guys variety and show you what it looks like with and without anyway. All right, here's that little palette knife that I was talking about on the Take Your Pick tool. The other side is our pokey side. Very, very useful little gadget here. You could use this side for the sequins, but I need to replace my putty. Okay. Hang on. I'm coming back. All right, let's see. Wreath. Santa is magic, so the wreath will fit. Yes, he is. That is so true, Linda. Why didn't I say that? All right. Hi, Dara. And she says, how is this little glitter glue different from Wink of Stella? That is such an excellent question. And I wish I had my Wink of Stella in front of me. The way that I would describe it, let me try to put it this way. So like this glitter glue does have a little bit of a textural element to it. But it's clear, but it has like this very high shine, iridescent white look to it, like almost like you know how that iridescent almost has like a bluish tint to it, but it's also white. It looks like that. When I think of Wink of Stella has a little bit more of like a golden tone to it. So Wink of Stella is like a super fine, it doesn't look like necessarily an individual piece of glitter. It's like this very super fine, high shimmer look, whereas this actually looks like glitter. It's just in this form with the glue. So I'll have to see if I can take a picture of the 2 dry side by side so that you can see the difference. But if you think of like basic white and very vanilla, basic white is like that true white, and then very vanilla has like a cream base to it. I would say like that's the difference between Wink of Stella and this glitter glue. Okay, so I am going to wrap it up. We're coming up on 1:30 now, but I want to thank all of you for being here, and just a few reminders. So the November Paper Pumpkin Kit is going to coordinate with October's kit. So this is October's kit that we did alternates for today, but November's kit is going to have a similar feel and theme to it. You can subscribe to November's kit up until November 10th, 2023. If you have prepaid codes and you haven't activated them yet, make sure that they are activated by November 10th so that you don't miss November's kit. November's kit is going to be 3D projects, but they have an add-on called the Warm Wishes. Here it is. There's an add-on called the Warm Wishes cards and envelopes. So if for whatever reason you didn't get October's kit, but you still want card bases, you can get 20 5x7 card bases, or if you're making things in bulk and you decide you want this to be your Christmas card or holiday card this year, this is a fantastic value. The card bases that we worked with today were all in the 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch size in terms of fitting into the envelope that came with this month's kit. The add-ons are 5x7. 5x7 size, so a little bit larger, and then also 5x7, size envelope. So it'll be what, like 1/8 of an inch or slightly wider than that for the envelope. But they're fabulous. I wish I had them here to show you, but I don't have them yet. and I didn't want to wait. So I just decided to go ahead and make these alternates as is. But if you have any questions about Paper Pumpkin, let me know. It's a monthly subscription box from Stampin' Up. You can see how absolutely fabulous it is, how well it coordinates with St. Nick, traditions of St. Nick in particular. When I saw the color themes and how similar they were, I was like, oh my goodness. That's why it's so great to have this. When you go with the coordinating colors, your mind, I'm telling you, if you want to get into alternates, but maybe you're feeling a little bit creatively stuck, the top two things that I recommend is put at least one of each card design together as the Paper Pumpkin team designed it, because that can help get the ideas flowing. And the other thing is to look up the coordinating colors, or at least pull the coordinating colors that you have on hand before you start getting into alternates when you go to work with your kit, because it just starts to bring up, like, I wouldn't have thought initially lemon lolly, right, for this card. But when I realized how much yellow was in all of the layers, I was like, that is actually going to look stunning. And I love it. I absolutely love the way that it looks on that card base. So it's so helpful to do those coordinating colors. I think it matters so much. Anyway, oh, you're welcome, Jeannie. Thank you all so much for being here. And I will see you guys again soon. I'll be finishing out the week with our week 11 of Halloween project. So I'll have more information about that coming soon. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.